The concepts covered are slow or fast speed measurement of time, measuring speed, distance, time graph. What is motion? Movement of any object from one position to another position with respect to the observer is called as motion. Motion is based on frame of reference. When a person standing outside the bus is considered as a reference, the bus is in motion. When a person sitting inside the bus is considered as a reference, the bus appears to be stationary. Motion can be of different types. Linear or straight, in which the object travels in a straight line. Circular, in which the object travels along a circular path. Curvilinear, in which the object moves along a curve. Distance is the actual path traveled by an object from its initial position to final position. It is a scalar quantity. Displacement is the shortest straight line path between initial and final position. If the initial and final points are same, then displacement will be 0. Distance depends on path, but displacement does not. Distance is always greater than or equal to displacement. They are equal only in straight line motion without taking U-turn. Uniform motion is a motion in which equal distance is covered in equal time intervals. Non-uniform motion is a motion in which unequal distance is covered in equal intervals of time. Slow and fast motion. If one object covers a particular distance in less time and another object covers the same distance in more time, then the first object is said to be moving slowly while the second object is said to be moving faster. The speed of an object. The distance traveled by an object per unit time is known as speed of the object. Types of speed. Uniform speed, when the object travels a fixed distance same time gaps, it is said to have a uniform speed. Non-uniform speed, when an object covers different distances in different time gaps, it is said to have a non-uniform speed. Average speed, the total distance traveled by an object divided by the total time taken by the object, is called its average speed. Finding speed, time, and distance. Measuring time. There are many events in nature that repeat after a time interval. Morning, the rising of the sun. Day and night, the time between the sunrise and sunset. Month, the time between two new moons. Year, the time the Earth takes to complete its one revolution around the sun. Measurement of time. Unit of time is generally measured in seconds, minutes, hours. The time period is the total time taken by an object to complete one oscillation. Units of time. Unit of time is generally measured in seconds, minutes, hours. Conversion between kilometer per hour and meters per second. Time measuring devices. Clocks use the concept of periodic motion to measure time. It means that it uses motion that repeats itself in equal amounts of time. There are different types of time measuring devices. Sundial. It uses the position of the sun to depict time. Sand clock. It uses sand to measure time. Pendulum clock. It uses a pendulum to measure time. Quartz clocks. They have an electric circuit that works with the help of cells. They provide accurate time. Periodic motion or oscillatory motion. When an object repeats its motion after every fixed interval of time, the motion of the object is called periodic motion. In many wall clocks, pendulum is used even today. A device having a string suspended with a fixed point with a bob at bottom is called pendulum. The motion of pendulum starting from one extreme end to another extreme end and back to the first extreme end is called one oscillation. Similarly, the motion of a simple pendulum from its mean position to extreme left and extreme right and back to the mean position is called one oscillation. Speedometer measures and displays instantaneous speed of the vehicle in km per hour. Odometer, it is a device which measures the distance traveled by a vehicle in meters or kilometers. Graphs. A graph is a picture or diagram that shows relation between two or more variable quantities. A simple graph usually shows the connection between two numbers or measurements in the form of a grid. A graph or a chart can be of different types based on number of quantities and representation method. Example of different types of graphs. Distance time graph. The change in the position of an object with time can be represented on the distance time graph. The distance time graph for a moving body can be used to calculate speed of the body. Straight line graph. The distance time graph for a body moving at uniform speed is always a straight line as body in uniform motion. Body moves equal distance and equal time interval. Curved graph. When graph of distance versus time is plotted for an object moving with non-uniform speed, the slope of graph will not be a straight line. The rising trend of slope shows the increasing trend of velocity. Types of motions graphs. Define the speed at the distance time graph. Speed equals distance by time equals final position of object minus initial position of object by time taken by object. Also, the speed of the distance time graph can be calculated by the slope of a graph. The steeper the slope of the graph, the more is the speed of the object. For example, in the graph given below, object A has a steeper slope. This means that object A is moving at a higher speed than object B. Distance time graph of two objects.